Andres, you have such a beautiful sound to your voice. I know it's often described sort of as Latin pop or maybe just Latin, but is there a way that you tend to describe the music you make?
Well, I would like to describe myself as a romantic songwriter, singer-songwriter. Obviously, my Latin roots are quite evident.
Right.
But as many Colombian artists, we have been growing up in in a place that receives music from almost everywhere. No, we are nurtured by obviously our culture, Colombian music, Andinian music, music from the Caribbean, from the Pacific Ocean, from the East Plains. There's so many. There's so many different Colombian music inspiring
Sure.
us. And if you add to that we constantly receive music from the south of the continent, Argentina and Chile, obviously Europe, Britain, the United States, the whole Caribbean. We grow up listening to a very crazy mix of very different cultures. And that, I think, is one of the reasons why Colombian musicians have this ability to synthesize a lot of ideas
Hmm.
and portray themselves to the world in such an interesting way, because we are a product of all those mixes, including racial mixes and cultural mixes
Sure.
and all the things we grow up hearing. No?
Who are then some of the influences you had when you were growing up musically?
Okay, I had my parents present me with classical music and a lot of bolero and some Mexican music and a lot of jazz with my dad. And my older siblings my sisters were infatuated with the Beatles and the Bee Gees, and my older brothers maybe brought me some Zeppelin and some AC/DC and definitely the Rolling
Yeah.
Stones. And then in my teens, in my early teens, I began to discover a lot of Spanish rock pop from Spain, from Argentina, from Chile, from Colombia, also. And that and tropical music, music from the Caribbean, is a great, very big influence for me.
You have your album Bogota out now. How did your Colombian ancestry roots influence you to make this album?
It was a very important factor because I was born in a family with a lot of music going on with my parents. My father was a cello student, and he was an architect, but he was a late cello student. My mom played the tiple and the piano and used to sing too. My brother, one of my brothers, older brothers, was a classic trained pianist, and my cousins and my aunts and uncles, so they also played instruments and sang. So it was a very musical environment
Family, yeah.
when I was brought, being the youngest of all my brothers. So I was kind of, I didn't have much of a choice. My parents were taking me to concerts from a very young age. I started playing piano, studying piano around 5 years old. And all this heritage of music in my house was very tied with Colombian traditional music. So my heritage is very clear for me in that sense. And I try to mix that, to fusion that with the things I was listening to as a young boy, as a young man. So definitely the first music I played as a piano student was Colombian music, traditional Colombian music, and I heard listen to Colombian music all my childhood. So it's a very big factor for me, the tradition of Colombian music in my work.
What is your songwriting process, especially maybe for this album? Uh, is there a way you always tend to write songs, or does it change every time you craft a song?
No, I kind of have the same method, but it changes slightly from one album to another because it depends on where are you sitting in life at the moment, you know.
Okay.
But when I was writing the songs for Bogota, I was really looking inside, inwards. I was thinking about my first years. I was thinking a lot about my mom, my family life, and that what that which I was now missing because they are no longer around. So I had this particular opportunity chance to buy and move in back to the house where I was born, with the hopes of reliving those childhood fantasy years, maybe. And when I got home, I got to the house and I moved in. I realized that everything was on place except mom waiting for me on the door. So that really shocked me and inspired me to write the first song of Bogota, which is called also Bogota. And I wondered, I figured out that if I could find inspiration in the footsteps of the of my house, in the doorsteps of my house, what would happen if I went around the city, um, looking for memories in the places where I had been
Mm,
studying, where I had lived, where my girlfriends lived, where my friends lived, where I spent time as a young person, where I did things for the first time, performing and learning stuff, you know. And when I visited those places, certainly I found inspiration to tell more of my own stories regarding the city, which was my goal finally to make an album which portrayed how I see the city, and how I have lived in this city for so many years. So I found a way to very intimately look inward and find those kind of stories inside myself and hidden in the corners of my city. And I'm working on a new album right now, and it's kind of the same approach, but I don't have such a preconceived idea as I
okay.
had with Bogota. I'm just letting it flow. And every time I go into a studio to begin a writing session, I'm just letting it flow and let the song surprise me with its thematics or its melody or whatever. I'm not so preconceived as when I did Bogota. I changed a little bit of that for this album, but I definitely learned that looking inwards is always going to be a good decision, a good choice.
Sure. How hands-on are you then when it comes to the production side of the music that you make?
Okay, I like to produce myself, but I also like to work with other producers. It's always kind of healthy to have other ears in the mix and people kind of debating certain ideas with you. It's healthy. I think it's a good idea not to lock yourself in alone, because it gives you more chances to explore sounds and thematics and lyrics and stuff. So this new album I'm working on, I'm co-producing with three other producers, uh, three songs with each one of them, versus when I did Bogota, I just worked with Mauricio Rengifo and Andrés Torres for a few months, couple of months writing, another couple of months recording. Um, but I tend to like to work with other people because it opens up my horizons and my views.
Sure. That way you're not glued to maybe some a conception
Yeah,
you have in mind, and they
yeah.
maybe blow you
You
away with
might.
their idea, and you're like, okay, that's even better than
Yeah, yeah,
my
yeah,
original.
exactly. And you tend to repeat yourself less if you work with some other people who kind of refresh your head and make you see,
Sure.
may have different points of view. Yeah.
My favorite tracks on the album are Bogota and Imaginaje, Imagínate.
Imagínate, yeah.
What are some of your favorite songs that hold a special place in your heart?
Okay, you just mentioned two of those. I really love Imagínate and Bogotá, for obvious reasons. Bogotá, Imagínate, I'm so happy to be sharing that song with someone I admire so much, which is obviously Luis Fonsi. But there's another one there that's called El Café, which I really love to perform live. It's one of my favorite live performances to do. There's also a cumbia I recorded with the Ángeles Azules called Cariñito. I really love that track. And there's another one, which is a bolero, which is kind of hidden inside the record, called Quiero que me odies. That's another of my favorites.
And what are some of your favorites to perform live? You mentioned one.
Yeah, El Café is one of my favorites to perform live from this album, definitely. But of my entire career, I don't know. There's songs I love as if I was playing them for the first time. One of them is Besos Usados. Another one of them is Día Tras Día, maybe. There's one called El Mensaje, which I really enjoy singing. I like the sound of my voice a lot on that song. And you begin to fall in love with certain songs, and you
And re-fall in love with them.
yeah, and some others that you weren't so much in love before, maybe they surprise you and you start enjoying them a few years later. That also happens.
Goodness. Well, you were out here on a tour now for
Yeah,
this album that was a best traditional pop vocal album at the Latin Grammy Awards where it won. What does that mean
yeah.
to you to have your heart and soul put into something so special and then be so rewarded like a Latin Grammy for it?
It's just amazing. It makes you and all your team so happy because you share this honor with your team, the people who work with you all those hours in the studio and then promoting the album and then playing it live and all that. It's really it's a great satisfaction. I really enjoy every time we get nominated to something. It's like, yeah, somebody else like this beside me and is letting me know. Obviously, besides our audience are the people who follow us. For example, for the Grammys or the Latin Grammys, when you receive these nominations or get your gramophone, you feel recognized by your peers. No, finally, it's your colleagues, the people who work on the music industry, singers, songwriters, producers, engineers, all this. They vote for you, and I think it feels great, and it doesn't wear up. I still enjoy it as if it was the first time,
Oh,
every time. Yeah.
it must mean just the absolute world. You were nominated Song of the Year, Best Pop Song for Bogota, and then to win the album, it's
Mhm.
just a cherry on top for the wonderful music you continue.
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm so grateful for that. We are still celebrating with the team, believe it or not. Yeah.
You're out here on the US leg tour for Bogotá La Gira. What can fans
Mhm.
expect from a live performance from
Well,
you?
it's gonna be very intense. It's the last 14 shows of the tour. We've been taking this tour around the world for the last almost 2 years, and these last 14 shows in the U.S. are really important for me and for my team because after we finish the last show, which is in Denver on the 31st, then we flip the page. We change completely, new project, new album. We've been around with this Bogota for the last two and some more years. We've played it in obviously in Colombia, South America, in Europe, in Canada, now in the US, and it's time to turn the page. And I'm a little sad about that because it's been a great ride, but it's time to have new music released and start a new process. So it's gonna be
Mm.
very intense because we're gonna really want to celebrate the this stage of the career, which has been Bogota for us, with our best performances.
Is there a way that you have like a good look to get ready, or is there something you do, a ritual that you do
Yeah,
before every show that maybe don't involve, just maybe take either if it's taking a time away for yourself to sort of center yourself and then you begin, or
yeah.
is there some sort of ritual that you maybe in the band do together?
Yeah, yeah. I believe the most important ritual which we execute with many weeks of anticipation is obviously the rehearsals. I am a very rehearsal oriented kind of artist. I enjoy rehearsals a lot, even sound checks. I really enjoy them because it makes me ready for what's gonna come, and it makes me feel sure of what's gonna happen on stage, and everybody's sure of what they're gonna do and really believe in every step we take. So for me, that's kind of a ritual in itself. But just when you are about to take the stage, we have a small meeting with the musicians. We talk about the latest changes we made to the repertoire and to the set and stuff. We
Okay.
wish other and we have a toast. We usually have a cup of aguardiente, which is our traditional beverage. It's an alcoholic beverage, which is delicious and it's great to warm up the vocal cords
Of course.
and get our spirits a little lightened. So that I believe that would be the ritual. A toast with a cup of aguardiente with the band just before the show.
All right, you have a bunch of US dates coming up here starting soon, including my stop, Miami.
Yep.
And is there a place you're most looking forward to performing? Maybe Miami, because there is such a great Latin population
Yeah.
here.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, really, my Miami is a great it's a great city for us because you got on the same city. Almost every culture in the Latin American map united there. So you have access to the Argentinians, to the Peruvians, to the Ecuadorians, the Venezuelans, Colombians, Mexicans, everybody. And it's funny because I've noticed every year we go, our audience gets a little broader because these Latin people invite their local friends, their American friends, or when it's in
They're
Rio,
gringo friends.
the gringo friends to the show, and it's an opportunity I have to hook them up, so what I
Yeah,
do is I learned this by visiting the States so much, is that I have to sing my songs, but the way I have the way I can um hook with the gringos is telling them the stories behind the songs. There's a lot of storytelling involved in the shows because it's the way that I can incorporate new people to be my followers and to enjoy my music by telling them the stories behind the songs. And it's been a really good tactic, and it's become a very natural thing to me for me to do on the shows, especially when I go abroad, where there's people from other countries locally assisting to the shows with our Latin community, inviting them. So that's a thing I do, and that's why I really look forward to playing in Miami always, because I can find that. I also have lots of good friends in Miami that I visit and hang up a few days with them. And this is gonna be this year as well. As when I finish the tour, I'm going back to Miami for a few days to hang out with my friends and have a few relaxation days.
plenty of cafecitos, some
Yeah.
Dominoes, maybe.
Sure, you got it.
You collaborated with some incredible stars, including recently with Luis Fonsi, as we talked about. Are there some dream collaborations you have in mind?
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of collaborations on my list, on my bucket list. So maybe the one on top would be a person I admire very much, which is Juan Luis Guerra. I love his work, and I love how he handles his career. He's a very great example for us musicians.
I recently talked to Anthony Almonte, and he was telling me that Juan Luis was his sort of dream artist to collaborate
Sure.
with,
I
too.
bet he's a dream collaborator for many of us. Sure.
What would you like to say then to everyone who are fans and supporters of the beautiful music you keep putting out?
Could you say that again? I lost you. Sorry.
Sure. What would you like to say to everyone who are fans and supporters of the beautiful music you keep putting out, Andres?
Okay, I would like to say I'm gonna keep on going on with it, because I think um, we need to have this type of songs in our lives. I think they can count on me for that. I love singing this type of songs, these romantic melodies and these stories. And I think if there's not many of us doing it right now, um, doesn't matter. We got to keep on doing it, because I guess there's an audience who's always want to hear to these songs and these lyrics, and wants us to keep on telling their own stories, which are also mine.
Well, keep making music. I know you're back already making it. I see where you are,
Yeah,
especially right now.
yeah.
And we're looking forward to a big and beautiful 2026 for you.
Okay, I promise new music very soon, and I hope I can see you in the Miami show.
Me too. Thank you so much for your time, Andres. It was such a pleasure to
Thank you.
chat with you. Um,
Thank you.
I